Yo, this is Studio Bounce. It's myself, Conducta, and welcome to my studio. So this is my studio. Before it used to be kind of like a gym. So you can kind of see the like mini climbing wall and the pull-up bar and like the mirror, and it doesn't really look like it's not like a typical kind of studio. And then it slowly kind of got into a studio space. So we've kind of just recently converted the vocal booth the wine cellar into a vocal booth. We kind of moved around the table from the mirror. We also got like a little sofa, so when like we have people in for sessions, there's like more space. There's the TV, the mic, which is also in the vocal booth. And yeah, it's just become a bit more of a studio. The fridge, which is kind of empty. Yeah, empty. But yeah, that's the studio now. How I got into producing, I was around 14, 15, and me and my cousins, they're twins, we kind of, we like music quite a lot, and we grew up around music. Like, we listened to quite a lot of R&B and like grime, and there was such a mesh of music going on at the time. And then we were like, oh, let's just try and make our own thing, because everyone would do it, like everyone would spit bars on the playground and that kind of thing. So we made a couple of tunes, and then the first tune that we like made, finished and like mixed and mastered and stuff, even though it was like probably an awful mix, it got played on One Extra by Mr. Jam, like on BBC Introducing. And then from there onwards, like with two of us, because two of us are producers and one was an MC. And then from there we kind of thought, oh, like maybe we could like kind of make music kind of thing. And yeah, it kind of stemmed from there. They went and did their own thing, and I just kind of pursued it, and I guess here I am now. So what I've been working on the last couple of months has been quite busy. I mean, I just signed like my first record deal in March, which was like a big thing. It was like a mad achievement for me and my manager, because we've kind of been doing it like independent up to now. And yeah, it was like a really good moment. And then ever since then, it's kind of just been lining up the music really. So in the last couple of months, I've just done a remix for Jay Huss. I've done something for Wilkinson. In the studio with people like MJ Cole, which is like a really big thing for me, because he was someone I grew up listening to and was like, yeah, it's like a legend, MJ Cole. I've been with some really talented writers and singers like Shola Ama, and there's a few singles there. So the tune I'm gonna break down to you guys is with a girl called Alice, who's like got a really powerful voice, and I really like her sound. My studio must-haves, there's always usually water, like keep hydrated, and it also does get quite hot in here. I usually got like Haribo's, but the rhubarb and custard ones, like they're quite mad. That's on my rider as well, like a game changer. What else do I have? Kinder Buenos, also some plantain chips. I've got like a bit of a sweet tooth, but yeah, that's usually my studio must-haves. So equipment-wise, I've got my like Big Mac, which I run off. That's what I use for recording. I've also got Fruity Loops on there, like the crossover version for Mac. And then I've got like my Beast computer, which has Fruity Loops on there. And it's got like a mad like spec. I've kind of like built it up, so it's like a gaming computer. So it's like 64GB RAM and loads of Aniki stuff I won't go into, but it's quite a mad computer. So I use that to produce on, and then I usually just like bounce it all off, put it on a hard drive, and then go through here when I'm recording. I've got a little MIDI, some KLK Rocket 8s, which are like decent for like monitoring and stuff. I try not to spend, like in most studios and stuff, people have got like quite a lot of gear. And I think with me, like just a younger generation thing, I think it's more like, it's just more easier, and it just makes more sense to stay in the box. And so you can like have the means to kind of like spend money on gear and stuff. Because like if you buy vinyl, like even buying vinyl is expensive, and you get lost in it because you get addicted. And I feel with like gear, if I like got into gear, like it would just be a myth. Like I'd end up with no money, and like this room would be full. So I've got that, and then inside there we've got like a little vocal booth with like a little mic. It's not too expensive and stuff, like a little like £100 mic, but it does the job. Also got like a Focusrite sound card, which also does the job. So yeah, equipment-wise, that's pretty much it. The track I'm going to break down for you today is my track with Alice called Come and Go. Like with most garage tunes, I feel like they usually like about girls and stuff, but with this one we tried to like make it like have like a kind of message. And this is actually on the day of the American election when Trump got in. So on this vibe, we went for a bit of like, it's a bit more soulful rather than like a kind of straight on kind of garage thing. So with the intro, I've got chords that I put in. At the time when I made this, I was using a Mac. I had another Mac, a little MacBook, so I put the chords in. So the chords, those are kind of just, I've literally just put in like a one-shot like road, and then just hit it in on like a MIDI. and then I bounced it out and then put it into here so I can save like memory and space and time. So those are the chords there. And then there's automation, which comes in on these little street walk chops. So if I isolate these, it's just boom. So it's just that, it's just like one hit. And then to give it another layer, I put in these like chops from like a little sample pack I had. So it gives that kind of hip hop kind of feel. But it's kind of echo and there's like reverb and stuff on it just to give it a bit more weight so it like stands out in the mix. So then you've got the vocal coming in. So you've got like verbs, you've got the little intro. Also like another like little hip hop like cinema little tape thing. So but it's got quite like a nice jazzy feel and it makes it feel like really warm and like a classic kind of tune. Like it kind of reminds me, like in the past I've sampled like Nas on a few tunes and this kind of gave me that kind of Nas, like Illmatic kind of feel. So what I've done on this is kind of different from usual tunes. So what I've done to kind of give relevance and kind of context to the tune, usually with a lot of garage tunes or a lot of tunes you hear like the intro has like quite nice chords and it just goes straight into like a drop and there's no kind of relevance. So what I've done is I've put the chords, I've layered the chords from the intro into the drop. But I've like put it quite quiet and put a bit of cut off on it. So when there's cut off on it, it gives it like a nice kind of feel. So it's there, it sits there, but it's not too like blatant or like loud in the mix. It also just gives it a nice melodic feel. And then my drum arrangement, usually again, I approach this track quite differently. So usually what I do on Fruity is I just put the drums like in here on the step sequencer. But with this, what I did is I just kind of just chopped up like one hits and then placed them on the kind of sequencer and gave them swing. So if we listen to the drums just like this, they're just like that. And then what I've got underneath is I've got a couple of like hits. So I've got another snare. Again, it gives that extra weight. Little hi-hat flicks. It's like chopped up and like rearranged across the track. We've got like tambourines and stuff. Just to give the drums like that kind of groove and swing so it kind of like rolls a bit. But it's always good to like layer. I think layering is key because you just want things to sound full. I think that's something that I've learned from like playing kind of festivals and stuff when you play out your own tunes. Or just in general, like you don't want it to sound empty in comparison to other people's tunes. Like you don't want that feeling when you play a tune, you're like, oh right, it sounds so dead. So yeah, that's something I would like recommend as well, like layering, just make it as full as possible. The vocal chops. So what I've done here, vocal chops can be quite interesting because there's no real right way of doing it. I've been in the studio with like certain people and they've done, what they do is they go through the whole vocal and then find like little like phrases to chop, which is good, but it's quite time consuming and like if you're producing on the go, if you've got stuff to do, it's just like you don't really want to be like listening to a tune, the same thing like hours and hours upon end because then you just end up getting bored and like you just end up sacking it off. So usually what I do, which can be seen as lazy or like a sly stroke of genius, is what I do is I literally just click on here and there's something called chop and I literally just do beat shuffle and then it just shuffles like the arrangement of it around. So what I do is just do chop, beat shuffle and then just see how it sounds and then so obviously it's got it like all chopped up and obviously that's not how I'm going to use it, but what I'll do is I listen to this like little short phrase and then choose what I want from there. So let's say if I wanted this bit and like get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of that. So that's like a secret I use really just for like chopping up vocals. Back to Coming Down Studio Bounce. That was myself, Conducta. I just broke down my tune, Come and Go with Alice, which is out now.